Welcome to the experiment. I am so glad you're here. If you weren't here, I would be doing the experiment for an hour anyway, so it's great to have you here with me. Uh, the experiment is all about feeling your feelings starting right now. Hi. The experiment is weird. You cannot do it wrong. It is impossible to do anything wrong over the next hour. It's simply about feeling your feelings, about being curious about them. It is not about, the experiment is not about talking about your feelings, naming your feelings, finding where they are, knowing what they are. It's not about knowing why they are here. It's not about knowing what caused them. It's not knowing the color or the shape of them. And it is certainly not about making them go away. It is simply about feeling your feelings. And again, as I said, it's feeling your feelings starting right now. It's also not necessarily just about the big, scary, yucky feelings we might put in the box of negative feelings. It is about positive feelings. It is about negative feelings. It's about the in between feelings. It's about the feelings you can't put a name on. And this is not a discipline. You don't have to identify or find a feeling and then stick with it for a certain period of time. Your job is simply to feel your feelings until they are done being felt. And then what I believe happens, but I don't even really know, is they integrate back into you. Kind of like if you were to dislocate your shoulder, you're going to feel that shoulder until it comes back into place. You're going to feel your feelings until they integrate into you. And then the cool thing about the experiment is a next feeling will be available. You get to feel that feeling until it's done being felt and integrates into you. And then a next one will show up, and a next one, and a next one. So this is not a discipline. It is not about finding a feeling and then getting to a certain point with it. It's about simply feeling that feeling. The other thing that I love about the experiment is this isn't about ignoring your thoughts. Every time I have participated in any sort of meditative practice where I'm supposed to identify my thoughts and let them go away, what I have felt for me is those thoughts then come and wrestle me to the ground, and all I do is think about them. So in the experiment, you can have whatever thoughts you have. You don't need to ignore them. You don't need to categorize them. You don't need to do anything with them. You can simply use those thoughts as a tray that your feelings are arriving on. So you might have a thought, and all this is about, all the experiment ever is about, is feeling whatever feelings are there around it. So you don't have to ignore your thoughts. Um, this is all about feeling big feelings, petty feelings, silly feelings, um, all of the feelings, every feeling that might be out there in the world, in your world, I'll say. Um, Here's another thing. The experiment is weird. This is how we do it. In my perfect world, in a few minutes, you're going to turn down the volume on me, and you won't need to or want to hear from me anymore because you will be so intrigued by or entranced by or feeling so enjoying it so much that you don't want to stop feeling your feelings. You don't want to come back and listen to me, and that will make my day. So this is a weird, weird hour. If you're in an office space or in your home, you're going to look weird. You're going to close your eyes at some points. So embrace the weird here. Embrace the weird. What else? I have some notes. I want to make sure I said the most important things to get this set up. Okay, I think I did. So here's what we're going to do. We're in just a moment, we'll get to that point where I invite you to turn down the volume on me. This is how this session will go. I'm going to make an invitation for you to feel your feelings. And the only real invitation ever that I'm ever really inviting you to is to feel whatever feeling is coming next. But if that doesn't feel accessible to you, then follow my invitation. If you follow my invitation for 10 seconds and then something new shows up, perfect. Follow that. That is what the experiment is. Um, What I believe is happening for us is our feelings are showing up one at a time in front of our faces to, or in front of our beings or our faces or our eyes or our bodies or whatever they're showing up in front of. They show up in the perfect order for on our behalf, so that when we feel them and then feel the next and the next and the next, we're taking little steps toward being more awake, more alive, more free in our lives. And so I am going to make invitations to you that you can either take or not, because there's simply a way to access the next feeling that might be showing up. There's simply a way to access the next feeling that might show up. So, with that, let's do the first invitation. Here it is. Wow, people, I don't know who or what you can see, but weird and wild things are happening on my side. It's so fun. Okay, here's the first invitation. I would like you to think of, oh, I'm sorry, I stopped explaining. So I'm going to make an invitation. I'm going to set a timer. You're going to go feel your feelings for that amount of time. At that point, that's when you're going to turn the volume down on me. When that time is up, whoever is still here, I will be inviting you to either share your experience or ask a question. That is not required. But there is, for some people, it's really nice to kind of talk about or ask questions about their experience. After that, I will make another invitation and we'll go off for a few minutes and run experiments. We'll come back. People can ask questions or share experiences. That is absolutely not required. Sometimes that doesn't happen at all. And we'll just rinse and repeat that until we have about 10 minutes left in our session. So I would love it if you would right now set a timer for 10 minutes to the next hour. At that 10 minutes, I'll have some invitations for you for the next week. And if my dream came true and you just went off and you felt your feelings, that timer will bring you back. It'll bring you back for us to finish up this session and to get you ready to go on to the rest of your day. So again, please set your timer right now for 10 minutes to the next hour. And then I'm going to make an invitation to you. Make an invitation to you. I'm going to invite you to your first invitation. There we go. Okay, here's your first invitation. And again, always the only real invitation is to simply feel what shows up. Might come with a thought, might just show up. And give this one a try. I'd like you to think of a day that in your life that you might not remember the details. Maybe it was a time when you were hanging out with friends, or it was a day when you were on vacation, or you were in a special place. You might not remember all the details, the roller coaster that you rode on, the conversation you had, the food that you ate, but you can remember the feeling of that day. My first invitation to you is to start by, and I'm going to give you 4 minutes for this, feel the feeling of that day or feel the feelings of that day. Again, if that doesn't feel fruitful, simply feel whatever shows up. The feeling you might have that shows up is, this isn't working. Sarah didn't explain that in a way that makes sense. I can't think of a day. Oh no, oh no. Great. Feel whatever feeling comes with that. With that, I'm going to set a timer for 4 minutes. You do not need to set a timer. Ideally, please turn the volume down on me and simply run the experiment. That was 4 minutes. For those of you who can hear me, um, I'm going to invite anybody who wants to, who feels compelled to share their experience or to ask a question to do so. For those of you who are listening, please feel the feeling of whatever people might share or whatever people might ask. That's a fun invitation too, to feel the feeling of hearing other people chat or talk or share. Who has something they'd either like to share, an experience or a question? Oh, and you can either do the Zoomy raise your hand, or if I can see you, raise your hand like that, or either one. Does anybody else have something they want to share or a question from that experiment? All right, let's do our next experiment. Um, if you have a pet or other people near you, even neighbors, um, the next invitation, actually, the real invitation is to feel whatever shows up and follow this invitation as a first place to start, if you'd like to. Feel the feeling of them, the pet, or the other people who are in the building or the house with you, or your neighbors. Or maybe you can hear construction. Feel the people participating in that construction. This is simply a curious thing, right? You don't have to say, like, oh, I know the feeling of them. You're simply being curious about feeling the feeling of those beings. If you don't have a pet or a human or whatnot, maybe you have a plant, feel that, or a tree, feel that. You're feeling another living thing that's near you. And if there are zero living things near you, wow, you might be on the moon. And go ahead and think of a living being or thing and feel that. This invitation will be 3 minutes. Again, if it is so groovy or so interesting or whatever shows up is something you want to follow, please keep following it. That is the most important thing that will happen during this call. And in about 3 minutes, I'll be opening up conversation again. So 3 minutes starting now. Go ahead and turn the volume down. That was 3 minutes. I'll invite anyone who wants to share their experience or a question that they have. For those of you who are listening, please feel the feeling of what they're sharing. Who has something they would like to share or a question? Oh, mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. This is what I mean. This is what you just pointed to is part of what I mean when I say the thoughts show up. They are a tray or they are a platter that brings you the opportunity to feel and whatever you might feel. And I'm going to make up a story. These are the kinds of things I might be feeling. Actually, you can't describe feelings. So I can't. I find that the words for feelings are never quite right, the right feeling. So I think you all know what I'm saying here, right? These lots of thoughts show up with lots of things you might feel about your to-do list, about the tree, about the shape of the tree, about the questioning of yourself, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of beautiful opportunities. I feel compelled to share this story. Hopefully it's helpful. Again, the whole point, the only thing I'm asking you to do is feel the feeling around the words that I'm sharing. And I'm going to tell you this story. I had a dog 20 years ago, holy moly, 25 years ago, who she loved to have a stick in her mouth when we took a walk. She always wanted to be carrying a stick. Um, she never left the house with a stick. She never came back to the house with a stick, and she always had a stick on the walk. She she walked out of the house confident that there would be a stick. And one day I was talking with a friend of mine about this dog, and we started laughing and we said, you know, if only we could live like this dog did, knowing that when we leave the house, the perfect stick is going to show up. And then we made it even bigger. This idea that the whole world is made of perfect sticks. And when I talk about the experiment as the idea that the whole world is here giving you invitations to experiment, that is in essence what I'm saying. The world is made of perfect sticks. And those vacuums and the snoring dog and the tree trimming and whatever else might come, that's what I'm pointing at when I say the world is an invitation to run an experiment, to be curious, to feel your feelings. Good God. Oh, good. I was just about to say, I hope that made sense. And I got hearts from one person. So I'm choosing to hear that as that made sense. Oh my gosh. How groovy. Okay. Woo. Woo. Okay. This is so fun. I try to play it cool in here, but I'm not cool, people. Okay. This is so cool. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, what should be the next experiment? Okay. What might it be? What might it be? Hmm. I have a list of possible experiments here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Um, the next experiment is I would like you to think of something you would like to fix. It might be a thing about you, or it might be a thing about other people, or it might be a thing about the world. Whatever. Just something in your I want to fix it category. And the invitation, as always, is only to feel whatever is showing up. And here's the first invitation here around this. Feel the thing that you want to fix. And we're going to do a long one on here. We're going to do 5 minutes of feel the thing you are wanting to fix. Please go ahead and turn the volume down and feel the thing you want to fix. That was 5 minutes. You might have had insights or thoughts that felt a little louder than the standard thoughts. If that happened, go ahead and grab them, write them down. And you might not have. And if whatever that thought might be was weird, like go buy a unicorn, great, write it down. It'll be helpful later. Or eat more cucumbers. Okay, whatever. Doesn't make sense. It might make sense later. Don't edit inspiration. I made that invitation right now because it felt like, ooh, I see a comment here. I'm going to finish my thought and then dig in. Um, I I invited you to write down your inspiration on this one because I felt inspired to say it. And anytime you're running the experiment, if there's a thought that shows up or it repeats or it feels a little different, it might be a bit of inspiration, something to grab. Okay, I see a note here. So much easier to think about the first two things. Okay, than something that you want to fix. Yes. Yes. Yes, and feel it. Feel the pissed off.
Yeah.
Feel the pissed. Feel the shitty driver. Feel the scared. Feel the whatever. That's the invitation. That's the invitation. Without editing yourself. Feel that feeling. Or go ahead and feel the shitty driver and then be pissed at yourself and feel what a dork you are or feel how whatever your commentary. I'm telling you my commentary on myself. Like, what the hell, Sarah? They probably have a good reason for driving that. What like I like to edit myself. Feel your feelings. Feel your feelings about you. Feel your feelings. That's what the invitation is. I'm not sure it's um, some sort of ideal, perfect spiritual place, but that is what the experiment is. Um, Time check. Oh, look at us. We have 7 minutes. Okay. Does anyone have an experiment that they have run either during this call or another time that they would like to invite others to try? Hmm. Okay. Ooh, let's do this one. Um, oh, I love this one. You might hate it. We'll find out. Okay. Here's the invitation. Of course, the invitation is to feel whatever's showing up. And I think of this as like an experiment game. So look, this one will be one with your eyes open, at least in the beginning. Just look around and wherever your eyes land, think the thought, a part of me, and then fill in the blank. So maybe you look at something and it's sitting on a shelf. A part of me is sitting on that shelf. Or you look around and you see something flying. A part of me is flying through the sky. Just allow your brain to fill in the a part of me part and then feel whatever shows up. It's a game. It's an experiment game. We will do this for 3 minutes, starting now. Hmm. That was the time. Who has a question or an experience they'd like to share from that experiment? That is an experiment game that I love to play when I'm driving in particular or walking. A part of me is driving really fast in the fast lane. Hmm. A part of me is dead on the side of the road. Hmm. A part of me is picking their nose in their car and doesn't notice that everybody can see them. Whatever. So your timers will be going off in just a minute. I'm hoping there are some of you who've just been so lost in the experiment that we need to give you time to get here. Are there any other in general experiences or questions about the experiment before we finish up our call today? Okay, I'm playing it right now. A part of me is singing a song in the tree right now. I don't know. I think Zoom takes noise out, but can other people hear the birds going crazy in my yard right now? You can't hear it? Oh, that's too bad. All of a sudden, they just went wild. Okay. Oh, I just saw someone share. So your timers are probably all going off here. We're concluding our time here. So this is what I plan to say, and thank you, Aaron, for that question. The experiment was born in my brain on May 3rd of 2025. So it's a new experiment for me. What I have determined now over how long is this? This might be the eighth or the ninth time that I've hosted this call. Um, more than, well, maybe not quite 200 people have signed up for this, even though I just mentioned it to people. I don't market it. So it's the experiment is becoming a thing in my heart and in my mind and in my life. So um, the experiment is truly a way of living or a movement. I don't even have a name for it other than maybe one of those words, which I don't think either are quite right. The future state for the experiment is I think it's going to keep living on this call. I've written a very short book that I'm going to publish soon about it. And I plan to host some events. I have 3 events planned. They're in-person events. I don't think retreat is the right word. I don't think workshop is the right word. They're experiences. They are experiments. They are weird. I'm going to put the link for the experiment here in the chat for a couple reasons. Some of you who are here joined the experiment when the only way to join it was to have me literally put you on a calendar invitation in my calendar and invite you here. Unfortunately, you've suffered through me unpurposely and accidentally updating that calendar invite way more often than I feel cool about. So I'm going to move the experiment onto people signing up on Zoom, because then I won't goof up the calendar invite anymore. So if you're one of those people, I mean, you're all here early. This is, again, like I said, it's either the eighth or ninth time this call has ever happened. So it's still very young. But if you were here before maybe the last 2 weeks, please go to that website and sign in on the Zoom so that you don't suffer through me sending dumb calendar invitations anymore, or accidentally sending calendar invitations with no changes in them, which have happened way too many times. And again, apologies for that. Also, you'll see in that link, there's a private group. There are actually two private groups on Marco Polo. One is one where I send invitations. I try to do it 3 to 7 times a week. Just little invitations throughout the week to keep you engaged with the experiment. If you're interested in that, you'll see you just need to send me an email. And include your cell phone number in it, because that's the only way I know to add you to Marco Polo. There's another Marco Polo group where people who are experimenting are sharing their evidence that the experiment is working. And whether or not you join that Marco Polo group, that is a very important part of the experiment. Our egos don't like it when we do this. They want to tell us it is silly. They want to tell us it's a waste of time, or Sarah's a ding dong, or whatever our egos might want to tell us. So, and my ego wants to tell me that Sarah's a ding dong for sure. So, oh my gosh. And turkeys just arrived. Do you see the turkeys? My ego wants to tell me that I'm a turkey, actually. I think turkeys are so fun. So anyway, please keep turkeys. Yes. I love turkeys so much. They're so weird and wonderful. And they're so bold today. They don't even care that my 80-pound dog is barking at them. Okay, anyway, what am I saying? I'm saying this. Please keep track of your evidence. Please write it down. Please journal it. Or please download Marco Polo and leave yourself a video talking about your evidence. And this is what I mean by evidence. You will notice differences in your life. They might be little, they might be big. And actually, you might not notice differences in your life. The people around you might say things like, you seem calmer. You usually get mad about that. You usually call me a poopy head when I do that, and you didn't do that today. People will reflect back. They'll say, have you lost weight? Have you done your hair? Did you get new glasses? Even though you haven't done that. Things like that. Keep track of that evidence. And it would be amazing if you want to keep track of that evidence on the Marco Polo group. All of that is free. The events that I put in the chat, or that you can see on the website, those are not free. All the rest of the experiment runs free all the time. What do I want to say before we're done? Please think about this with the experiment. This is not a practice. This is not a discipline. This is a thing we play with. This is a thing we try on. This is a thing we're curious about. This is a thing we might chase in my backyard. I don't know if you could see that, but that was funny. Okay. You do not need to pin your feelings down. New feelings will come. I might in 1 minute have 3 different feelings I process. It might happen very, very quickly. And I've already said this on the call. All of life is an invitation to run an experiment. All of life is an invitation. All of life is an invitation to run an experiment. Hopefully I answered your question, Aaron. My hope is that the experiment goes wide and far. My book, in the description of my book, it says, you don't need to buy this book. You simply need to feel your feelings. That's the only thing this book is about. The introduction then says, you don't need to read anymore. Simply feel your feelings. And every chapter says that over and over and over. My hope is that this spreads like wildfire, and that this call, in its 8th or 9th iteration, is that first little fire that the wind blows on, and it catches on something dry, and poof, there it goes. And I see all of you as participants in that. And I'm grateful to you for being here and being a part of that.